I'm Justine.
Hey Justine, Libby.
Jordan.
Nice to meet you. How you going, Damon?
Good, how are you?
So this was a 3-day expedition. We ran down to the Southern Islands. In that time, with 10 volunteers, we removed 2,600 kilos of marine debris and filled up this dumb barge. That just shows you what our beaches were like before we started our constant ongoing marine debris removal program.
We had a look before and I was very interested to find out like exactly what items
Yeah.
are in there and what is the most common.
So we've done a lot of research here in the Whitsundays, and mostly what we're finding is food and beverage items. They float on the surface, and then our marine life and our sharks, they're eating it. We've got direct proof with a drum over there about a shark has actually eaten half the drum. Yeah,
Wow.
It's pretty amazing. We find a lot of that. And fishing reels. It's just plastic, it's just trash. It's just, it should not be out there.
Yeah, so this is trying to, like I said, talk about changing people's habits. It's one thing to get them to change their habits around recycling, but it's another thing to get them to change their habits around consumption.
Yeah.
So understanding that, hey, make a conscious effort to change the way that you actually interact with consumer goods. So when you go to the shops and you buy something, say no thanks to plastic bags. You know, if you choose a glass bottle or an aluminium can, those are totally recyclable. You know, and there are great programs in place to recapture those. You know, but you're making a big difference. So as consumers, we've got to push back on the companies that are just pushing single-use plastic. And it starts with plastic bottled water, it starts with plastic bags, it starts with things like microbeads as well. So it's understanding the impact that the products we consume have on our environment around us. It's not just, oh, I'm really good when I put stuff in the rubbish. It doesn't matter. You're still buying the stuff and the companies are still producing it because there's a demand in place for it.
Myself, at times, my thought process stops there. I've put it in the recycling bin, you know, but until you think beyond and what actually goes into it, it's a real big eye-opener.
Like Two Hands Project, which basically every time you go to the beach, make sure your hands are both full of rubbish
Yeah.
when you leave, because there's always going to be rubbish there to pick up. You know, just little simple things like that. So, you know, educating our kids to think about it. You know, if we've got a generation of kids that go, oh, that's ridiculous, and take it away with them, then everybody's going to win out of that.
Yeah.
We're not too sure what we're going to see tomorrow. I mean, we've seen some of the rubbish that's been picked up today, and it's a lot more than what we could have imagined. And it's probably going to be quite shocking, really, to what we actually do see.
Okay guys, so welcome aboard Eco Barge. It's an honour to have you girls here today in Water 3. We're going to come across here to Grimston Point. Grimston is where I came up with the idea for Eco Barge. So as I came over the hill, this is what I was confronted with. The southeast trade wind that flows through here, and it's these bays on these sides that are collecting all the marine debris. Each month we need to tackle certain bays just to keep on top of that. So yeah, so you can see like the coast of Australia, our islands jut out, so there's our doorstop. We're constantly cleaning up here. We are protecting the whole Great Barrier Reef. Awesome, hey? Yeah, it's awesome.
For 5 years I've been the skipper of Eco Barge. So yeah, it's been really good. Got 140 tonnes just about of rubbish through the barge here, so it's unbelievable, yeah. Oh, obviously we want to see the oceans clean. Once the plastics hit the shoreline, the actual sunlight breaks the plastics down into like grains of sand. You'll find it goes very brittle. Then once it goes like that, the plankton eaters in the marine life can ingest that. Then it works its way back up the food chain from little fish, big fish eating the small fish. So it's really bad for all marine life, yeah. Especially when it's at the primary source of the food chain. We take a different group of volunteers out every time, so people can learn what's happening out there. It helps a lot for prevention against the rubbish in the environment. So the less we get out there, the better.
If you roll the top over, it makes it a bit easier to hold on to and
It's not just old things we're finding, it's things that people are throwing away yesterday, the day before. Bits of plastic or plastic products, whether they were bottles, plastic lids, containers, and the amount of times that you you could walk over a spot and then walk back, and there was still some. There was, yeah, it was a bit crazy.
I don't even know what that is. Some weird blue AstroTurf. The pen. You know, I always say that every piece of plastic you've ever touched is still here. So think about the pen that you write with, and the pen you wrote with 20 years ago. If you're missing it, this might be it. So just, yeah, it's crazy. It's mostly, it's just everywhere. I don't even know what that's from, but as you can see, it just breaks into smaller and smaller pieces. And this is what the turtles eat, and this is what gives them float. But it's not just the turtles, it's the birds, it's the marine life, it's everything that is eating this stuff. Just an amazing amount of rubbish, and a lot of this is, you know, I want to say it comes off boats, but unfortunately it doesn't. The way the stormwater systems work in Australia, it's just stuff you leave on the side of the road, and stuff that just gets washed down the stormwater drains, and it ends up here. But worst of all, we're finding stuff on the beaches here that have come, you know, they've got Chinese writing all over them, that have come from Asia, you know, and the opposite's true as well. You go up into Indonesia and you're finding bits of rubbish that have come out of Australia. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. And we as humans are completely responsible for this. There's no blaming anyone else but ourselves. If you don't want plastic to wash up on the beaches, don't buy stuff in plastic. It's pretty simple. It's pretty bloody sad is what it is. You know, this is I'm not even moving, I'm just picking up stuff. This is a beach that no one lives on, and we're finding all this crap everywhere. Nah. Something's got to change, eh? This stuff's just going to keep washing up, and it's just going to get worse and worse.
We only cleaned this beach 3 months ago. Look what's coming in just 3 months. There's a big issue out there. Our oceans are full of rubbish. We've got to stop treating our oceans like a rubbish tip. This just should not be happening. We need education, we need awareness, and we need duty of care for our oceans. We've got to prevent it on land so it doesn't end up on beautiful beaches in the Whitsunday region or any beach in the world. Because on the back end of that, our turtles and our whales are dying. We can all do something to help protect our turtles, and this is what Eco Barge is all about, is direct action. Let's just get in there and let's get busy.
I think if everyone just does their little part and just changes one behaviour slowly, you know, the whole world will change and evolve, and we shouldn't have to be picking up rubbish. You know, Libby shouldn't have the job of the Eco Barge. Everyone just needs to pull their own weight and have a little bit more awareness on what they're doing to the world, and just be a little bit more conscious environmentally. You know, it's probably worse than what I expected. I was hoping that we wouldn't find too much rubbish today. But I don't even know how long it's been, but it feels like within the first 10 minutes this bag was half full. So I can only imagine the hard work that Libby puts in and what she collects. It's a bit scary. Really scary, actually.
Look at this. This would be floating along the surface. As I was saying about our hatchlings, our turtles in the lost years go out to sea. This would be in the normal debris like seaweed floating along, and our turtles are coming up and ingesting that plastic. Once that turtle ingests that plastic, it's not going to be able to pass that. So even with our volunteers picking up even the minute small plastic is so vital, this bit could kill a turtle. And that's what we're doing here, we're reducing that threat. And now look, you've got boat items. So this is boating, you've got a hat, shoes, food, bottles. Number one item is bottles. You know, whoever invented drinking water out of a bottle was such a good idea one day, but now we're really seeing that after effect of this floating around our ocean. Straws. What a silly invention. This person would have used this straw, what, a minute and a half to drink that drink? Now this is going to live in our marine environment for hundreds and hundreds of years. It actually doesn't break down. The petrochemicals leach into the ocean, And this plastic just breaks up into smaller and smaller pieces. Did they really need to use a straw? One of our beautiful volunteers has actually this is a turtle. This is a turtle skeleton, this is his back. So that would have been a small turtle. Why'd it die? You know, should have a long life, healthy life out there. So here's direct proof right there. There's a dead turtle shell. Look at this, plastic, rope. I know who collected this. This is Sarah's bag. I saw her untangling this over a mangrove. This was around a mangrove. You can imagine if a turtle or a fish or a shark swam into this, they just get entangled up and then when the tide rises, they can't breathe and they die. Why is this on our beaches? Come on, people. Let's do something about it. We've got to reduce this waste. Mobile phone, there's everything. Every consumer item is pretty much in this bag. You know, straw wrappers, shoes, bottle lids, a peg. So let's not point fingers, let's point the fingers at ourselves, is that we have to make change in our own house, in our own gardens, in our own parklands. That's how we're going to reduce this threat. Buy less plastic. That's the answer.